What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Homeboy, checking in with you. Thought about what I wanted to talk about a little bit today, and I guess actually I know what I want to talk about. Wanted to give parenting tips, especially from a father's perspective. From what I've learned, I got a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. The biggest thing I've learned is that each kid is going to be different. What I mean by that is the personalities, how they think, how they react to certain situations, how they handle different variables during the day or in their little short life that they are living through or whatever. So you got to treat every situation in its own merit. Some kids may require tough love, while others want you to be, more affectionate or more understanding with them. I have 3 boys, so, it's definitely a struggle in trying to meet each and every one of their emotional needs as best I can. For instance, my 3-year-old, he likes for me to physically play with him, like sometimes rough him up, wrestling or whatever. Doesn't matter, even though he'll cry and he may get upset about certain things I do, but that's his way of expressing how much he loves me, or how much he wants me to be around him. So I do that. Whereas my 6-year-old wants me to, listen to him vent about whatever, ask 2 million questions as all 6-year-olds will. And he wants to talk about everything under the sun, including ask me various questions like, where am I going? Why am I going here? What am I doing? Stuff like that. So, like I said, it depends on each child. I know for my sons, the biggest thing I've learned is being able to listen to them, because in the beginning, I was very quick to get, defensive or just shut them down completely. I had that, rah-rah mentality where I'm the dad, you're the child, and that's it. But now I'm learning how to be more open, not to give them opinions or not to have them make so many choices, but more so to allow them to speak without the fear of being, the fear of being silenced. So as long as they do it in a respectful manner, they're allowed to, well, my 6-year-old is allowed to voice his opinion. Once he starts to get to the point where I feel like he's being disrespectful or he's going too far, I will let him know. And being a father, I've also understand your presence means everything. It's not always about buying them things or, going places. Sometimes it's simple as just playing with them. Every single day I come home, my 6-year-old asks me, are you going to play with us today? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? 9 times out of 10, I go ahead and play with him. I rarely ever tell him yeah. But my way of answering that question is just playing with him randomly. Whether it's running around in the house with them or picking them up, spinning them around, or even just, wrestling, not wrestling, but more so picking them up, put them in different little positions and stuff, and tickling them. That's my way of, letting them know that, I enjoy them being around me, or I want to play with them or have fun with them. Like I said, it's not all about spending money, because money's it's gonna come and go. Not to mention when they have to buy things like clothes and food and shoes and stuff. So it's definitely gonna, come and go as it should. But the moments and the memories that you do make with them, they last forever. I think my 6-year-old would say I'm much funner than his mom because I wanted to do more. Even when I'm tired, I still don't want him to think like, oh, well, Dad never wants to play because he's always tired from work. Granted, yes, I do have days where I come in and I'll be exhausted, but I don't make that a point to make an excuse every single time I come home. I just play with them for, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little longer. Then I say, okay, play with yourselves. And most times it'd be enough. Other times I have to go longer. Sometimes I sometimes I do breaks throughout the period of the day where I play with them a little bit, then come back later on and play with them some more. And another point of the day I play with them again. So I try to always be a steady presence in my kids' life. Yeah, they live with us, and yes, I go to work and I come home to them every day, but it's more so spending that time with them. It's not about them seeing me and I'm walking out the house and then I come back in the afternoon to eat dinner, go to sleep, or tell them good night. It's about little things, like I said, like playing with them. Kaiser! Little things like playing with them, you know. I've also learned to listen, you know. I think most times we as fathers or as men, we tend to hear what we want to hear and then we'll shut out the rest. With my son, for instance, he asked me certain things to get my attention just to see if I'm actually listening to him. And then depending on how I answer, he'll, you know, throw a curveball. So I've learned now to be more attentive to what he's talking about versus just brushing it off because it's him talking. You know, whenever he talks about something that he's interested in, I try to take interest in it, ask him a few things about it, or even talk about it a little bit in depth to let him know that I'm really listening. And, you know, it gets him excited, so he'll talk more about it, and we'll go on for a little while, and then after a while, he'll talk about something else to change the subject. But it allows him to get his emotions and his feelings out to where he can begin to talk to me more about what he wants to do. For instance, one time he said that he wants to be an engineer, so I told him, I was like, you know, they build a lot of things around the world, tracks, buildings, skyscrapers, stuff like that. They design a lot of stuff to get built. And his eyes lit up, so he just, you know, can we do train stations and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Recently we watched the original Space Jam. We watched both, and then we watched the Michael Jordan Space Jam, and then he asked me, you know, do I think he can play baseball? I said, Cameron, you can do whatever you put your mind to. If Michael did it, why can't you do it? You know, you might be a great baseball player. Who knows, you might take a serious interest in baseball. Be careful with that. So, you know, I try to, whatever he goes after, as long as it's constructive and it's not, you know, hurting anybody or nothing like that, I encourage him to do it. Because Lord knows we have a lot of negativity in social media that even our kids get a hold of, and it's not always the best. So anything positive or anything that's going to help them grow and nurture their, you know, body and well-being of their mind, I'm all for it. The derogatory stuff, no. I try my best to keep him away from it because there's so many wackos on the internet that, you know, he'll pick up anything that, you know, he's heard or that he sees, and I don't want him repeating it. Like, even my 3-year-old says bad words, and I stop him, but I have to learn that, you know, whatever he hears, he's going to repeat it. So I try not to say certain words around him because I don't want to repeat it, and I don't want him thinking it's okay. So that's another, I guess, tad bit information. And another thing I've learned is always try to be affectionate. I'm still working on this part now because growing up, I used to, my mom used to say all the time she loved me. Didn't really, you know, show much affection, but she always said she loved me. And as I got older, you know, I used to say that, you know, to my girlfriend who's not my wife, and she'd say, why do you say that so much? I said, I told her, I say I love you because, you know, you never know you never know when your last day is. Or you never know when you might see that person again. So your lasting conversation or last word should be something that they can, you know, be appreciative of. The fact that you genuinely say you love them, they'll never forget it. So with my kids, you know, I tell them I love them. I need to work on telling them more, but I'll tell them I love them. I tell them, you know, bye. I tell them good morning. I kiss them before I walk out the door. I greet them whenever I see them, you know, hug them and try to kiss them on the forehead, stuff like that. Little gestures like that, just let them know, like, you know, your dad loves you. That I do thank God for you, because they're one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life, and they're one of my biggest motivating factors outside of not wanting to, you know, go back home and be stuck there. So I have to let them know, like, you know, I do really love you guys. I'll lay down my life to protect yours, to watch you be free. I'll give my own freedom. So these three are the biggest reasons why, I do what I do and why I am who I am. In terms of, being a better father and stuff like that. So, the affection part is a big, big deal. I know my wife, she, hugs and kisses on all my sons and stuff like that. I don't go to that extreme, but, like I said, I will hug them on occasion. I will kiss them, tell them, good morning, tell them goodbye, tell them I love them, stuff like that. They need to hear it more because I say it here and there. I don't say it often, but I do say it here and there. But I work on little stuff like, saying goodbye to them and kissing them, stuff like that, because they need to know that, hey, our dad can show love too. And it's not just in the form of whooping us, or it's not in the form of playing with us. He also can let down his guard and kiss us and hug us and hold us or whatever and stuff like that. So that's another thing I'm learning, how to do, or how to get better at it. Because with my 1-year-old, it's easier, but my 3 and 6-year-old, I have to not so much, keep the wall up, but I have to be willing to show them that, hey, no matter how old you get, you're still my son. You're still gonna be my son. So I have to be able to, show you that. Now, when they get to be a teenager, I'm not gonna be kissing them like that. It'd be more like, the way men greet each other, the hugs with the dap and give them a hug or something like that, or just like good morning or all right, see y'all later, whatever. But on occasion I may get them a hug or whatever. Stop now with the hammer. But I may do something like that. But as they get older, it'll be more of a manly type love than hugging and all that stuff. So, but I will cross that bridge when we get there. And I think the biggest thing in being a parent is trying not to be who your parents were. Trying not to emulate what you were raised to be or what you were taught. The respect factor, yes. It's important to teach your kids about respect, manners, mannerisms, stuff like that. But if you were raised a certain way, or if you were taught certain things, then it's not really necessary to do that with your children. Get them a new path. Get them something that you didn't have. I try to tell my kids all the time, I try to instill positivity and confidence in them. But also tell them you have to be humble, because my oldest son, he don't like to lose. Me, I'm fine with him. My oldest son hates it. But I'm trying to teach him it's okay to lose. It's okay. You still got the next game or the next race or whatever. It is not the end of the world because you lost a race or you weren't as good as the next person or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Because regardless, life is going to continue to roll on. You can't dwell on, you losing to somebody or whatever, because the moment you do, you lost. You lost the bigger picture. So I try to get him to build confidence in himself to where he can go out there and have fun and, still compete and still give his best. And if he gives his best and he loses, I'm just as happy as he gave his best and he won. But I need him to be able to be humble in defeat, just as graceful and happy as he is in victory. Because that's a very important thing that most kids don't get. And as soon as they lose, it becomes a problem. Versus when they win, they gloat and do all the little things and stuff like that to another child. So I'm working on him. I'm working with him to be better in that department. He actually starts soccer Monday, so I'm be curious to see how he does out there with other kids his age. See how he interacts with them, how he handles adversity, because he gonna see it when they go through drills and stuff like that. He'll see the adversity. So it's gonna be interesting. But like I said, being a parent is really all about what you feel is best. But I'll say this: if you do interact with other people who have kids and they give you advice, take it with a grain of salt, because what works for some may not work for you. And everybody's child is different, so the way they may deal with things or how their kids behave in a certain fashion, it may not work for you in trying to handle your child in that same situation. So again, take it with a grain of salt, but don't dismiss what they're trying to, hand over to you. But you can, gently be like, well, I'll take that into consideration, because your house don't run like somebody else's. So, and your kids have to follow by your guidelines. They can't, be consumed or worried about the next adult that comes along and try to teach them something, because they learn from. Yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
How you doing?
How you doing? Oh.
If you believe in the sign the top receipt.
Yeah.
There you are. Here's a pen. You can keep the bottom copy, okay?
All right, give me a second. I'm gonna go grab your tip.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Pizza time.
You all do
All
once.
right. Appreciate that, sir.
1 second, I'll be right back.
All right.
Where that 5 at? I think it's in there. Yeah. Alright, guys, well. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah. Peace.